Hi guys. In today's video, I'll be talking about which were the main lessons I learned while investing in different assets in the crypto environment. And I know that most of you would be already thinking about what your resolutions and plans are going to be for the next year, 2023. And even that's something I have been wondering about. But I thought that before I start making plans for 2023, I would take a few moments to introspect about what were the main takeaways during the last year, during 2022. And as every year is special and different in the crypto atmosphere, one major factor, if you look at the whole year as a whole, would be clearly to notice that 2022 was primarily bearish. It we saw most of the projects declining, coming to their all-time lows, Bitcoin and Ethereum having major corrections, NFT market volumes plunging, most of the altcoins getting very close to their all-time lows, or in some cases even going lower than that. Many small projects have completely died out because the fundings are very difficult to come by. And this was in contrast to how 2021 was, because 2021 was a year which saw a lot of gains start from the year beginning early in the January, February, and the markets reaching the peak around November end of 2021. And it was a year when most of the people were very bullish and there were funds flowing everywhere in all asset classes of crypto, whether it's the different kind of coins, the DeFi projects, the NFTs, the blockchain-based games which were coming up. And 2022 saw most of them facing a lot of pressure. And I think many of the projects are now in such a difficult situation that if the bear market continues for a while, they are on the verge of collapsing. And we during 2022, we also saw many large-scale scams, whether it's and bankruptcies, whether it's the Luna project or the recent scandal involving FTX. And all these, so basically, most of the news which was coming in was bad news and on a very large scale. So here, my main takeaway and the important lessons I've learned in 2022 is that yes, it's very important to be very driven and focused about which are the good investment opportunities during a bull phase. But at the same time, your strategy and approach should be balanced, that you minimize your risk while when the bear phase comes in. So now I would like to share which are the main lessons I learned this year, which I would definitely be keeping in mind in the next year, and which will also help me before the next bull cycle starts. The most important rule, I think, is only investing what you can afford to lose. When we are in a bull phase, we often ignore some of the risk factors and some warnings or triggers which should keep us alert. But we should never forget that whatever we are investing in crypto, considering that this investment and asset class is much higher in risk compared to any other investment type, we should never invest more than what we are comfortable with losing. Because as we have seen here, many of the seemingly large safe bet projects also collapsed or turned out to be scams. So people who had over invested in them, they were in a very dangerous situation. So I would never recommend somebody to invest more than what they can invest, and so you should make sure you invest only amount which if you lose will not have any impact on your day-to-day regular life. And also don't invest in crypto with highly leveraged positions or taking some loans and investing, because if it collapses, you will find yourself in a very difficult situation to come out with. The second lesson, which I think is really important to keep in mind, is that always diversify. It's also, I don't only mean about the broad categories of investment, like whether you invest in the cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum, or the altcoins, or you invest into some of the DeFi projects, or you choose some of the NFT projects. But I also mean that diversify further in each category, get exposure to as many different asset class as possible. If you're investing into coins, identify which are the main competitors of the main project which you've selected, and also This diversification would help you in case the main project which you're betting on for some reason it doesn't do well, you would have some hedge against it. Similarly, for NFTs, don't only invest in PFPs, also find out which are the new upcoming games which are built around NFTs, identify which kind of art collections have a good future. And similarly, there are new technologies coming into the NFT space, whether it's music based or collectibles. So try and explore as much as possible and always diversify your investments. As they said, never put all your eggs in one basket. Another important lesson, which we come to realize during the bear market, is that when you are in a bull market, you should always take profit. If you've invested something, make sure that when it pumps, you take out some profit. I'm not telling you to sell completely or move out of crypto. What I'm telling you is that you should not be blinded by the hodl or long-term holding concept that you just keep watching your assets going up and down with the bull and bear cycles. You should have a clear strategy that at what levels, what amount you would sell so you can book some profit. So, for example, in NFTs, a good strategy would be that if you've identified a good NFT project, you should always try to buy 3 or 4 pieces from that collection. So, when it pumps very high, you're able to sell 1 or 2. So, you have some liquidity available with you, which you can use for the next investments. If you don't book your profits regularly, then you would sooner or later find yourself in a cash crunch where you will have no liquidity available when you identify a new investment option. And then it might cause another problem, which will lead you to break the first principle, that is investing more than what you can afford to lease. So always make sure you churn your portfolio and balance it between the assets you've invested in and the liquidity you maintain. The next lesson learned during this year was that always prefer docs projects. Docs project means where you know who the founders are. They're known public figures, they've shared their public profiles. And I agree that this is not a 100% guarantee to ensure that a project will be successful because even docs projects can fail. But the key difference between a docs project and a project whose founder or the team behind it is completely anonymous is that docs project would put some accountability and answerability on the people behind the project. Because as we have seen this year, that whenever somebody rugs or pulls a scam, then slowly the restriction and laws regarding their persecution is becoming more and more secured. So it's becoming difficult for somebody who's known to get away with a scam. So always make sure that you prefer projects where you know who the founders or the people behind the team are. And the last lesson which I would like to share is that always when you invest in a project, after doing your research, if you've selected that yes, it looks like a good opportunity, make sure you have a clear plan that how much do you plan to invest, at what levels will you start booking some profit, is this something where you will be cost averaging during in the future months as well, or you will only be doing a one-time investments, how long do you plan to hold it, what targets do you have in mind, what kind of changes or problems would indicate that you might consider moving out of this project. This would be really important, and it would avoid making any impulsive or emotional decisions. Because sometimes what happens is when we enter a project without any clear plan, then at the slightest correction or dip in the project, we panic and sell it. Or if even there is a small rise, we sometimes overinvest in it, thinking that a big bull cycle has started. So always be clear what your expectation and plan with the project are and follow it with a detailed structure approach rather than just going with the flow. Because if you have a clear plan, then you would be in a strong position and you would not let your emotions play with you or get in the way of having a sound financial strategy. I hope you found the video useful. And if there is any other lessons which you would like to share, do let me know in the comments. Thank you.